Hello and welcome back to another Kyle Connor YouTube channel video. Welcome to the Volkswagen ID Buzz. You joined me on a little street here in Copenhagen, and I thought it'd be really fun to take you on a drive of the ID Buzz and just share some of my impressions. I just finished shooting our full review for Out of Spec Reviews, and I have to get this back over, so I thought, okay, let's do this in a POV style. I'll take you on a quick tour of it really quick. So opening up the side doors, you can see they power open, pretty good rear seat. One thing I'm not liking though is there's no center armrest in here, so there's no place to put your right hand. Also, no cup holders. The only cup holders that are here are right here on this plastic thing, but it feels like it's not really put together so well. And so like on immediate examination, it's like, all right, maybe we're not doing so hot. So these fold somewhat flat. What the heck? Got to put the front seat forwards. Okay, let's do it. So front seat up. Let's get this all the way out of the way. And let's see really quick, get this bag out of the way. There we are, folding flat and a really nice flat load floor all the way to the back. If I open up the massive rear tailgate, you'll see, there we go, power of course. Really huge tailgate. It's got to be one of the biggest tailgates in the industry. And just take a look in here. Once you pull this cargo partition out and put it away, massive space. Again, this is the short wheelbase, which we're not getting in the US. We're only getting the long wheelbase. But you have a couple little bags of things in here, like what's in this one? A charging cable, which is really great. So you can see just a little 110 outlet. This one's actually 230 volt because it's a Schuko plug, but in the US we know what we'll get for that. No big deal. In this one we just have our Type 2 cable, but really good storage space for these little things. And this is just some netting of some kind. They also have a little camper version that goes in the back for some sleeping and pull a grill out, and I think that's just so smart. I really love that feature right there. So closing this down, a bunch of different wheel size options, 18, 19, 20, and 21 inch wheels. We're actually running on the 20 inch wheels. Each version has a stagger, so we have two 35s up front, two 65s in the rear. The 18 inch and 19 inch get two 35s in the front, but only two 55s in the rear, so 10 mils less, which means more drifty action. Pretty interesting. So putting the seats back, fully animal free interior in this particular car, which I think is really quite smart. This is not actually wood, this is just plastic. Everything looks really nice. It feels, even though it's plasticky, feels really nicely put together. I just absolutely love this car, and the styling of it is truly wonderful. I haven't actually taken a look under the hood yet, so let's do that really quick. It looks like it opens out this way and down. Okay, so I've left the air conditioning running in sort of its preconditioned state. So we have our washer fill, a little strap here. Doesn't look like too much craziness going on, and we'll close that back down. Really nice thunk when you close the windows. Radar sensor up front, ultrasonics around. You have your front camera for 360-degree camera. This one's number 1538. They've built a few of these things. There's 50 of them here at this event, which is pretty interesting. You can see the play and pause buttons down there as well. But let's jump in and get ready to drive this thing. And all you have to do to turn it on is hit the brake pedal, and she fires into life. Getting all adjusted from a seating perspective, so let's just pull this down. Welcome ID Buzz. Okay, we're gonna raise the temperature up to like 21, and we'll go low fan for audio. So yeah, I mean, just take a look at the view out of this thing. Really nice open cabin, good seats around as well. You can see the side arm bolsters here. What am I trying to say? Armrests. You have another one on this side as well that you can raise up and down and lock in. There's a little button underneath that you just push to sort of lock them where you want it to go. Elbows go nicely. This is the massage seat button right there. Boom, right at the bottom. So we're locked in on the massage seat. Why is this Tesla just sitting here? I don't know. I think it's a student driver is what's going on. So let's get all in order here. We're going to put the screen. This one has software 3.2, so it shows driver assistance and also your consumption, but you can also change this over to your navigation just by clicking on this right view button right there. So I think that's really quite smart since we're actually navigating somewhere. we'll do that. This is not when we're going to do our efficiency testing, but it did seem to be fairly efficient in dense traffic. But again, we weren't going major highway speeds or anything like that. The only weird thing about sitting here, I'd say there's two things. The front windshield's really far away, so it means it's hard to see stoplights and stuff up there, and it's just this big, massive dash. But also, the driver assistance camera is on this little hump right here in the center, so you just need to be mindful about pulling up to things in front. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure you can just hit this button. No. How do you pull up the cameras in this thing? I don't actually know the quick way to do it, but you can pull up the front camera like this, and then you can even see out on the road, sort of a wide view. So that should be quite helpful with this this situation over here. In terms of going and driving, we're in drive right now. I actually think I like to drive this best in comfort. I'll tell you a little bit about it as we go. The steering, look at that ratio right there. Huge, well, I should say huge wind. It's a really small turning radius in this particular vehicle, actually. So not a big turning radius whatsoever. And it just feels so well planted on the road. It's really got the best, I would say, feel. You can see this guy smiling at us right here. People are just like, what the heck is going on? Oh, we got a little cul-de-sac. Why did it tell us to go this way then? So here we go. In the middle, full left turn. As I was just talking about the turning radius, it better do this without curbing itself, and it did. Feels quite large, and I can't believe this is the short wheelbase. The long wheelbase is going to be something pretty incredibly big, I would say, and really going to be able to replace people's needs, like a Tahoe or something like that. This is going to have just as much utility as those vehicles. Where those will have a lot more, of course, is in towing. This will only be able to tow about 2,200 pounds, at least for the Euro version, maybe even less for the US version. Let's hope we get an over 2,000 pound tow rating, but that's really just enough for a couple bikes. And even then, tongue weight's really light. I want to say it's just about 100 pounds or something. I don't know how correct that is. So we have to kind of zip out into traffic right here. Speaking of power, we have a 150 kilowatt rear motor, which is the same motor out of the ID4 that we know from the US. And yeah, 150 kilowatts is fine for around town. Really nice for around town. Instant power, good response, especially depending on which drive mode that you're in. Did you just like bottom that little thing out? That was awesome. And so, like, for example, we're behind this little student driver car, right? But if I just nail it, we're just right up on him. So it's got plenty of go and poke around town, but certainly I noticed, I drove it up on the highway. It takes a little while to get up, above 50 miles an hour. You're using all of the pedal at that point. But it feels right at home among these bigger vans. This is a tall roof Sprinter, and we're sort of right up with them. Bigger than the Toyota Pro Ace right here. And here's a little small Volkswagen thing, definitely bigger than these guys. They're checking it out, you can see, which is kind of cool. So you can see everyone's taking a look. Big thumbs up, waves from the driver there. Yep, pretty interesting. Love the culture that this thing brings, and the smiles that it brings as well. I said the ID4 was the happiest car on sale when that launched, and this by far is now way happier than that particular vehicle is. Yeah, so driving this thing around is really awesome. The seating position's great. I'm getting a massage. My elbow to hand ratio for the steering wheel is really nice, so this is perfect. It's exactly how I would want to sit in a car. Sit up nice and high. The steering is really, I think, the highlight to me about this vehicle. It's light, but it's direct. It's a good ratio, and actually great feel and feedback. So I'm very impressed with just maneuvering this around. It's kind of like really fun to maneuver around, actually. And yeah, I think that's probably its best quality to me, is just the driving dynamics. Here we go, big power. See if we can catch the light. I'm wide open throttle. We're gonna make it through this particular one. Let's bump it over into sport mode for this. We got the left turn available. We're going to not hit this pedestrian, but a wide open throttle as we come down. Let's see what this thing can do. 80 kilometers an hour, 90, 100, 110, 120. You can see I'm wide open. 130. We'll hit the brakes a little bit because we're just a tad over the speed limit right there, but you can see it's not a racer, but it certainly gets the job done without any issue. I'll show you some of the driver assistance as well. So we'll turn it on, we'll hit set, I believe we're in travel assist mode. Let's see, travel assist selected, ACC, travel assist, boom. Locked in on active steer. You can pull this over. It shows cars in other lanes. Actually makes auto lane changes as well. It pulls up these little arrows. The only problem with this on the highway, it's very comfortable, seemingly efficient, like it's all good. It's just really loud. Really loud on the highway. Now, you can see the right lane just opened up on the screen, so I'm going to hit the right turn signal. I'm going to check around during vehicle lane change like it asked. We merged over, and boom, done. Made our lane change complete. Really, I think, an awesome feature. Another thing that I really love is I can stuff it to stay on one side of the lane or not, or another, I should say. So, for example, I have it riding pretty much this right line, all the way on the right side of the lane. Or I can push it over here and say, hey, stay all the way on the left side of the lane, like it is here. Oh, wait, it's going back. You got to kind of lock it in on the left side. There we go. And now it'll pretty much ride this left line all the way to Sweden, which I was there earlier today, but we don't need to go back. So I love that you can have 3 different lane positions, center, right, and left, and the vehicle will just stay on that side of the lane. That's a really underappreciated feature. The auto lane change is nice. It also has swarm data with car to X, so it does a pretty good job of tracking other vehicles' movements and then responding to them. For example, if they have an incident up ahead, it will know it and it can actually respond. It's pretty cool, and it only works in big numbers, and so it's a technology that's only going to improve as time goes on, in my opinion. Interesting fact, if you hit this off button right here in the center, that shuts the doors off, and then they're manual, but you really got to pull them hard, and they don't like that at all. So it kind of isn't designed to work with that function off at all. We'll just come to a stop here at this red light. Nice brake pedal blending. I typically drive the vehicle in B mode, which uses pretty much off-throttle regen as much as possible. And then as you touch the brake pedal, it will blend in friction brakes on top of the regen. It also adds a little bit more regen just for stability. So in total, you get about 100 kilowatt regen, which isn't great. Nice blue e-tron in efficiency mode, slammed. You get about 100 kilowatt regen, and then it switches to friction brakes, discs up front, drums in the rear, just like every other MEB car we've driven. Not a big deal, I think. I'm totally fine with it. It also does torque vectoring by braking on the rear axle with drum brakes, which is pretty crazy. So I think that's actually really impressive. Let's just kind of send it around the roundabout, shall we? Front end tire squeal right there. Really good control. It's very tuned, I have to move left here. It's tuned very much for comfort, of course. It's not a race car at all. And again, one setup on the suspension, but overall, I am just loving driving this thing. I love the way the thing moves around. There's very little body sway. There's very little dive under braking. The only time you really feel the dive under braking is when you come to a kind of a quick stop like this, and the front end lifts up a little bit. We're sitting very close to the front wheel, so we kind of lift up a little bit, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, Volkswagen recommends an 80% charge limit. I guess we should talk about the battery pack a little bit. I'm trying to squeeze all this into my drive. ID3 Taxi, this one has the 77 kilowatt hour usable battery pack, and I believe it's 82 kilowatt hour gross capacity. It's a 400 volt system technology, or system architecture, I should say, and it charges at 170 kilowatts. So same as ID5 GTX, ID4 GTX. We'll see a peak of 180 plus kilowatts to it, but only up until about 20%, and then it kind of falls on its face. So I think definitely need to see an improvement in the middle section of this charging curve. The peak is really great, but the curve isn't. So Volkswagen claims 5 to 80% in 30 minutes flat, which in my opinion just isn't enough, especially when competition like EV6 and Ioniq 5 are out there doing the 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. This is a big gap, and especially with this vehicle, you're going to need more charging because it's going to be less efficient than ID3 or ID4, of course. Also, we, in the US at least, and probably in Europe, will get the long wheelbase And that means, I think, a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. MEB is a modular platform that allows for different size battery packs. So there's a 44 kilowatt hour usable, 58 usable, and 77 usable. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get a close to 100 kilowatt hour battery pack put in the big one of these bad boys. And that, to me, is just going to be the key option. Nice Golf R Mark 7 right there. And that's gonna be the car. Long wheelbase one of these, hopefully with the all-wheel drive platform, put a lift kit on it, put a roof thing on there, and now you have the ultimate overlanding vehicle. Another really nice feature about the Buzz is that there's going to be a whole bunch of accessories to support overlanding and adventuring, and we've actually already seen, I'll insert a little clip, we've seen this sort of camper thing that slides into the back. It has a grill that pops out. It's got a bed on it, so then you'll really have a van you can sleep in. So Volkswagen's really going into the van life thing with this. There's also a whole cargo version, which we're not getting in the US, which is all about transporting goods instead of people. You can fit 2 Euro pallets in that particular one. And so I'll actually have a video about that, I think, on Out of Spec Reviews. That's what I'm heading to go pick up right now, as long as there's one available. And, you know, honestly, there's nothing to complain about. To me, this is almost the perfect car for this application. It's designed to bring happiness back into motoring. It's to bring in, you know, a little bit of the trendy hippie lifestyle, if you will, back into modern society. And I think it appeals to people of all ages. It's premium, but it's not pretentious. And yeah, here are all the cargos over here. And it's just a great way to bring a smile to your face at the end of the day. I really love the ID Buzz, and I'll be putting in an order as soon as I can. You can see some people filming with it up over this way. So here we are arriving back. You put it in park just by hitting this little button right over here. And now there you go. That's my drive in the ID Buzz, but I really am just thrilled with it. It's really awesome. And of course, software 3.2. It's the same as 3.1, but it's got built-in Spotify and a few other things. So, yep, love it. Thanks for joining another Kyle Connor YouTube channel video. See you on the next one soon. Bye-bye.